Melissa Jefferson wouldn't just beat Gabby Thomas again, this time in the 200-meter race. She ran an amazing time of 21.99 seconds, leaving the Olympic champion behind. 2 races, 2 wins, and a rising star who is changing the story of women's track and field. Gabby Thomas is a top-level competitor, multiple medal winner, and Olympic champion in the 200 meters. Her record made her the big favorite in any speed competition. Melissa had already won a bronze medal in the 100 meters at the Olympics, but people didn't see her as a real threat in the longer distance. However, everything changed at the big track and field event in Miami. At that event, nobody expected that Jefferson Wooden could beat Gabby. The media attention was focused on Thomas, who many saw as the sure winner of the short distance titles, but Melissa had other plans. The short distance title was decided based on the combined results from the 100 and 200 meters. And even though the competition was full of talented runners, Jefferson Wooden quietly beat everyone's expectations. By just 1 point difference, Melissa took home the combined title. It might seem like a tiny advantage, but in the world of track and field, where every tiny fraction of a second matters, that 1 point was the line between being in the background and being in the national spotlight. That victory, though quiet, was enough to set off alarm bells for those who really pay attention to what happens on the track. The most surprising thing was that Jefferson Wooden didn't just compete, she mixed up the established order before Miami. She was known mainly as a 100-meter sprinter. Yes, she had raw speed and an explosive start. But many people believed that Gabby's experience and endurance would be the deciding factors in the combined score. And yet, Melissa showed that she wasn't a specialist limited to just one distance. Her start was clean, her acceleration phase was powerful, and her consistency made the difference. The victory in Miami was quiet, yes, but it resonated enough to change the story. That change was confirmed in Philadelphia at the historic Franklin Field Stadium, where the most anticipated rematch took place. This time, the spotlights were completely on the 2 athletes. The event was the 200 meters, Gabby Thomas's signature race, the same one she dominated at the Paris Olympic Games, but the results shook the track and field world again. Melissa didn't just win, she dominated with a time of 21.99. Jefferson Wooden left Gabby behind, who crossed the finish line at 22.10. It was a race that made it clear the Miami victory wasn't luck. From the first meter, Melissa looked focused. Her reaction was precise, gaining a crucial advantage from the start. That small difference allowed her to enter the curve with rhythm and keep her composure in the final straight. Gabby, known for her powerful finish, tried to catch up, but Melissa didn't fall apart. Her technique was flawless, her stride was steady, and her energy was relentless. She didn't just keep the lead, she maintained it with a confidence that impressed everyone. That 21.99 wasn't just her personal best time, it was also the fastest time ever recorded in the 200 meters in the entire history of Franklin Field, a track that has witnessed decades of great races, Olympic champions, and track and field legends. For Melissa, setting a record at that venue in Gabby's race was a symbolic statement. She was no longer a surprise or a coincidence. She was a sign that she was here to stay. Gabby Thomas ran a great race, a time of 22.10 is still an elite mark. In any other context, it probably would have been enough to win, but that day it wasn't. It was clear that Melissa was the best, not just in that race, but maybe at this stage of their respective careers, beating Gabby in the 200 meters means beating her on her own turf. And that made Melissa's victory in Philadelphia more than just a medal. It was a statement. The media, analysts, and fans didn't take long to react. Social media filled up with replays, statistics, and debates. Specialized blogs started changing their tune. Jefferson Wooden hadn't just had a good weekend, she was building a powerful season. And for those who thought her Miami victory was a matter of luck, silence was the answer. Melissa Jefferson Wooden's victory in Philadelphia wasn't an isolated flash. It was the culmination of a quiet, steady, and disciplined process after her unexpected triumph in Miami, where she beat Gabby Thomas by just 1 point in the combined 100 and 200 meter ranking. Melissa decided that simply winning wasn't enough. She wanted to dominate. The change began in training. Until then, Jefferson Wooden was recognized mainly for her explosiveness in the 100 meters, a brutal start, a precise acceleration phase, and muscular strength that allowed her to stand out in the first meters. But the 200 meters is a different story. It's not just about speed, but about maintaining maximum speed through a tight curve and a final straight, where your legs shake and technique is everything. Melissa understood this and adapted. She began working on her stride pattern, perfecting her transition in the curve, and improving her ability to sustain maximum speed. Her environment was also key. She trains in Central Florida, sharing the track with none other than Sha'Carri Richardson, Olympic silver medalist in the 100 meters. Being surrounded by elite athletes creates pressure, but it also raises the level. Jefferson Wooden took it as a challenge. If she wanted to compete with the best, she had to become one of them. And that's what we saw in Philadelphia. Not just a powerful start, but also a solid final stretch, no stiffness, She was fluid, strong, and confident. The mark of 21.99 seconds wasn't just the best of her career. It was also the fastest ever recorded on the legendary Franklin Field track, a feat that resonates. Not just because of the number, but because of the context. She beat Gabby Thomas in her favorite event at a competition where the Olympic champion had everything going for her to shine. Gabby, for her part, didn't have a bad race. Her 22.10 is still a world-class time. Under other circumstances, it would have been enough for victory, but this time, it wasn't. Jefferson Wooden didn't just start strong, she stayed ahead throughout the entire competition. And that changes the narrative. When an athlete wins once, it can seem like luck. When they win twice in a row against the same rival and under different conditions, it's no longer a coincidence, it's a trend. Jefferson Wooden is becoming a real threat. Not just in the 100 meters, but also in the 200, she's transforming into a complete sprinter, the kind of runner who can decide championships on her own. The most interesting thing is that this change wasn't sudden, it's been gradual after finishing third in the 200 meters in Miami. Despite winning the overall total, Melissa felt unsatisfied. That dissatisfaction was the engine. She didn't settle for just participating in the 200. She decided she wanted to win them. That's where her competitive mindset took a decisive turn. The key has been discipline. In a world where many athletes rely exclusively on talent, Jefferson wouldn't bet on meticulous work. Every repetition on the track, every gym session, every technical adjustment counted. Her evolution wasn't the result of momentary inspiration, but of a deep conviction that she could be more than a specialist. And the impact of that transformation is being felt throughout the circuit, reactions on social media, specialized blogs, and sports media didn't take long. People no longer talk about her as a promise or an outsider. They talk about a real contender, someone who can get on the podium in 2 distances at World Championships or the Olympics. Someone who is already shaping the narrative of 2025. This change has forced Gabby Thomas to reevaluate her position. She's no stranger to challenges. She's faced injuries, difficult moments, and has always come back strong. But this time, the threat isn't coming from behind, it's coming from the next lane. Jefferson Wooden doesn't just run fast, she runs with intention, with hunger, and with a confidence that you can feel from the first steps. And here lies the new tension in women's sprint, track, and field. We're seeing the beginning of a new era. Is Gabby Thomas being overtaken by a younger, hungrier, and now more complete athlete? It's still too early to answer with certainty. But what is clear is that Jefferson Wooden has stopped being just an explosive sprinter. Now, she's a complete competitor with concrete results that back up her. The 2024 track and field season has been one of the most competitive in recent years, especially in women's sprint events, with names like Sha'Carri Richardson, Julianne Arufredo, Shericka Jackson, Dina Asher-Smith, and Gabby Thomas herself in great shape. Standing out isn't easy. However, Melissa Jefferson Wooden has burst onto the scene with a force that nobody can ignore. After her victories in Miami and Philadelphia, the debate is inevitable. Can Melissa be a serious candidate for Olympic gold in Paris? And even more important, in which distance does she have the best chances? Her recent record suggests she's dangerous in both. In the 100 meters, she's shown an explosive start and an acceleration phase that rivals the best in the world. In the 200 meters, she's notably improved her technique, and her ability to maintain speed in the final meters. In a season where consistency is key, Jefferson Wooden has responded with concrete results, but Paris will be a completely different stage. It won't be enough to win a couple of races before summer. It will be necessary to beat world and Olympic champions at their best on a fast track, under maximum pressure, and with millions of eyes watching. Gabby Thomas, for example, has made it clear that her